Hello everyone, today we will present about motion analysis while washing clothes by hand. Hand washing clothes is an activity to remove soil by using water, detergent. Hand washing clothes is an IADL activity. IADL stands for Instrumental Activity of Daily Living. Hand washing clothes is an easy and effective way to clean any garment, especially delicate. There are a few body functions required to do hand washing activity. As for the sensory function, it requires visual, vestibular, touch and proprioceptive function. The next one is neuromusculoskeleton and movement-related function. It is joint mobility and joint stability. The last one is muscle function. It requires muscle power, muscle tone and muscle endurance. Next, to do this activity, it requires two performance skills. The first one is motor skills. It requires balancing, positioning, gripping, and coordinates. The second performance skills is process skills. It requires sequencing and gathering. For this activity, we will break it down into a few steps.
As for the first step, which is soaking the clothes,
there are some aspects that we emphasize in this motion analysis, such as type of plane, motion, type of contraction, muscles, and joint.
Now let's see our result of motion analysis for several parts of the body that perform the motion. Next, we can see a picture shows neck flexion in 19 degree and it occurs in sagittal plane
and has concentric contraction as the muscle is shortening. In this picture, we can see a picture of the shoulder in 48 degrees of flexion.
Next, the picture shows the elbow extend in 56 degree.
It occurs in the sagittal plane and has eccentric contraction as the muscle is lengthening.
Next, we can see a picture of the wrist in 49 degree flexion. Now, we can see a picture of MCP, PIP and DIP joint in flexion motion. Here, we also can see IP joint for the first digit has 82 degree of flexion. Next, the picture shows the hip is flexed in 102 degree.
In this picture, we can see a picture of the knee in 81 degrees of flexion.
The last one for this motion is ankle. Ankle is in neutral position with 90 degree of range of motion.
Step number 2 is brushing clothes. The first motion is the flexion of neck joint at 18 degree of range of motion. Next, lateral rotation of shoulder joint at 24 degree of range of motion. Wrist joint extension at 24 degree of range of motion. The flexion of MCP joint at 45 degree of range of motion. The flexion of PIP joint at 37 degree of range of motion. The flexion of DIP joint at 22 degree of range of motion. For interphalangeal, hip, knee, and ankle joint are in neutral position. The first motion is the flexion of neck joint at 18 degree of range of motion. Medial rotation of shoulder joint at 52 degree of range of motion. Wrist joint extension at 24 degree of range of motion. The flexion of MCP joint at 45 degree of range of motion. The flexion of PIP joint at 37 degree of range of motion. The flexion of DIP joint at 22 degree of range of motion. For interphalangeal, hip, knee, and ankle joint are in neutral position.
The last step is rinsing clothes. The first motion is flexion of neck with 16 degree of range of motion. The next motion is shoulder flexion with 71 degree of range of motion. Next is elbow flexion with 36 degree of range of motion. For wrist flexion, the range of motion is 28 degree. Next is flexion of MCP joint with 60 degree of range of motion. For flexion of PIP joint and DIP joint, the range of motion is 60 degree and 45 degree. The next motion is flexion of IP joint with 45 degree of range of motion. As for hip joint, knee joint, and ankle joint, the motion is in neutral position.
Conditions that affect individual ability to do hand wash clothes. The first one is fracture. Fracture is the break in structural continuity of bone. The individual with fractured bone, especially in the upper limb, are unable to perform hand wash clothes because it involves repetitive movement. This can put more pressure on the broken bone and the recovery of the bone may take longer. This condition reduces mobility and physical function of an individual to perform daily life activities. Secondly, carpal tunnel syndrome. It is happen when the swelling in the wrist causes pressure on the median nerve. The person with carpal tunnel syndrome may have difficulty with fine motor skills such as grasping and carrying the item and unable to concentrate in doing washing clothes due to the feeling of numbness, tingling, and weakness in the wrist and hands. Thirdly, tennis elbow. It is a painful condition that occurs when the tendons in the elbow are overloaded, usually by repetitive motion of the wrist and arm. The person with this condition is unable to do washing clothes by hands because it involves movement of wrist, hands, and arm, which can increase the pain, loss of strength, and difficulty to grasp objects using hand. And then low back pain. Low back pain is a feeling of pain and discomfort in the lower back. It can result from many injuries, condition, or disease, most often an injury to muscle or tendons in the back. The person with low back pain are unable to perform washing clothes by hands because they may have decreased movement of the lower back and having difficulty with a standing straight. Lastly, rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is a chronic inflammatory disease. RA can affect the wrist, hands, knee, ankle, and feet. It can also affect both sides of the body. RA usually often affecting MCP and PIP joint, which can leading to impairment in hand function. The person with this condition cannot do washing clothes by hands because they have decreased hand dexterity, decreased strength, and unable to bend or straighten the affected joint.
That's all from us. Thank you.